My name is Amelia Carter. I'm 32 years old. For my parents' 40th wedding anniversary, I traveled almost 2,800 miles with a gift wrapped in gold paper. I had barely stepped inside the house before my mother looked at me and said something that made the whole room freeze. "We didn't invite you," she said coldly. "Your sister planned this." Then my father looked at the gift in my hands, pushed it off the table, and said, "We don't want anything from the daughter who abandoned us." The box hit the floor. Everyone in the room watched. I bent down, picked it up, and walked out. But later that night, when they found out what was inside that box, what it had cost me, and who had secretly been paying for the roof over their heads for 5 years, they drove 14 hours straight to my front door. Before I tell you how all of that happened, take a second to like this video and subscribe to Fate and Truth Stories if you enjoy emotional, real-life stories like this. And tell me in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is there. Now, let me take you back 5 years earlier to the day I discovered my parents were about to lose their home. I grew up in Millbrook, Tennessee, a small town where everybody knew everybody. My father, Thomas Carter, worked as a plumber, fixing pipes in half the houses in town. My mother, Linda Carter, worked part-time at a local grocery store. And then there was my older sister, Rebecca. Rebecca was 4 years older than me, and in our house, she was the center of everything. She was loud where I was quiet, confident where I was careful. She told stories at the dinner table while I cleared the dishes. When she brought home report cards, Dad would hold them up proudly and say, "That's my girl." When I brought home the same grades, they quietly disappeared into a drawer. There was a joke my father loved telling at family barbecues. He'd point at Rebecca and say, "Rebecca dat the brains." Then he'd point at me, and Amelia, well, Amelia's Amelia. Everyone laughed. I laughed too. I was 8 years old the first time I heard that joke. I was 18 the last time. The punchline never changed. Neither did the audience. When I finished nursing school, I accepted a job in Phoenix, Arizona. I packed my life into 2 suitcases and 1 cardboard box. The morning I left, my father was fixing a pipe under the kitchen sink. I stood in the doorway. "Bye, Dad." He didn't even come out from under the sink. Good. One less mouth to feed. It was June 12th, my birthday. I didn't leave because I stopped loving them. I left because staying meant disappearing, and I was already halfway gone. For the first year in Phoenix, I called home every Sunday night. Sometimes my mom answered. My dad never did. By the second year, the calls started going to voicemail. I asked Rebecca about it once. "They're busy," she said. Then she added something else. "You know Dad, he thinks you abandoned us." I still sent birthday gifts, Christmas presents. One year, I knitted my mom a scarf that took 3 weekends to finish. Rebecca later told me they threw it away without opening it. That sentence stayed with me like a stone in my chest. Then one Thanksgiving, my Aunt Carol called me. During the conversation, she casually mentioned something strange. "Your mom loves that scarf you sent. She wears it to church every Sunday." I went silent. Rebecca had told me they threw it away. That was the moment something shifted inside me. For the first time, I started realizing something important. My sister wasn't just the favorite. She might also be rewriting the story of our family. But I didn't know how far she'd go. I found out on a Tuesday afternoon. I was 27, finishing a double shift at the hospital when Aunt Carol called again. Her voice sounded tense. "Honey, your parents are 3 months behind on their mortgage. The bank is about to start foreclosure." My heart dropped. "Does Rebecca know?" "She told them she'd handle it," Aunt Carol said. Then she paused. "But no payments have been made." That night, I sat in my apartment staring at the wall. Then I did something no one in my family would ever know. I called the bank. And that decision would quietly change the next 5 years of my life. The bank manager's name was Daniel Harper. I explained who I was and asked about the mortgage. He confirmed everything Aunt Carol said. 3 months overdue, foreclosure process beginning. Then he said something else. "Actually," he added, "someone called last week claiming to be a family member and said they'd take care of the payments. But no payment ever came." I knew exactly who that was. Rebecca. That was the moment I realized something painful. My sister wasn't just careless, she was calculated. So I made a decision right there on the phone. I want to set up automatic payments, I told the manager, but I want them anonymous. No one can know it's me. Not my parents, not my sister, no one. The payment was $2,100 every month. After rent, student loans, and bills, that left me barely any money to live on. So I made sacrifices. No vacations, no eating out. I bought clothes from thrift stores and drove my old car until it rattled. My boyfriend Jake, a quiet carpenter who noticed everything, figured it out within 3 months. He saw the spreadsheet on my laptop. "It's the house, isn't it?" he asked. I nodded. He didn't call me crazy. He didn't tell me to stop. He just said, "Okay, then I'll fix the porch myself so we don't have to hire anyone." That was Jake. No speeches, just action. For 5 years, every single month, the money left my account and went straight to my parents' mortgage. And every month, the balance got smaller. My parents never called me. Not on my birthday, not on Christmas, not when I got promoted at the hospital. But the house stayed standing, and that was enough for me. Or so I thought. 2 years into it, Aunt Carol called again with something that made my stomach turn. "Rebecca told everyone she's the one paying the mortgage," she said. At Thanksgiving dinner, my father raised a glass and toasted her. "To the only daughter who truly cares about this family." Everyone clapped. Rebecca smiled and said nothing. Meanwhile, the money was still leaving my account every month, $2,100, over and over again. By the 5th year, the mortgage balance was almost gone. When the final payment cleared, the total came to $126,000. The house was finally paid off. 2 weeks later, I saw something online, a Facebook post. Rebecca had posted, "Planning Mom's 40th anniversary party. Family only." Hundreds of comments, dozens of likes. No message to me, no call. But this time, I wasn't going to stay invisible. I called the bank and requested the full payment history, 60 pages of records, my name on every transaction. Then I wrote a letter. I placed everything in a box, wrapped it in gold paper, the same color my parents used at their wedding, and I flew home. You already know what happened when I arrived. My mother said I wasn't invited, my father pushed the gift off the table, and I walked out. But what happened next is what changed everything. After I left, Aunt Carol opened the box in front of everyone. Inside were the bank records, the mortgage certificate, and my letter. When she read my name out loud as the person who had paid the entire mortgage, the room went silent. My father's hands started shaking. My mother began to cry, and Rebecca slipped quietly out the back door. By the time my parents finished reading everything, the truth had spread across the entire town. That night, they tried calling me. I didn't answer. But at 6:07 the next morning, a truck pulled up outside my house in Phoenix. I stepped onto my porch and saw them standing there. My father looked exhausted, older somehow. He stared at me for a long moment. Then he said, 3 words I had waited my entire life to hear. "I'm sorry, Amelia." I didn't run to hug him. I didn't cry. I just stood there and let the words settle. Because forgiveness doesn't happen all at once, but sometimes it starts with someone finally telling the truth. And if this story meant something to you, make sure you like this video and subscribe to Fate and Truth Stories for more powerful real-life stories like this. And tell me in the comments, should she have revealed the truth earlier, or was staying silent the right choice? I'd love to hear what you think, and I'll see you in the next story.